What we're not going to do is try to get in the mind of like, why did the guy do this, and what was he confused about Sikhs and Muslims, and was he a skinhead, and like, was he in a crazy band, and was he obsessed with 9/11? So we're getting into, well, what is it like to be a Sikh in America, and you know, what are the experience of Sikh Americans? What is their faith? What is their community? Let's talk to their community and throw it open and make this an opportunity for something positive instead of something negative.
Right.
So, thanks guys, and let's get the show on the road. We're joined by several Sikh Americans, some in Wisconsin, some not. We're joined by Kiratbir Singh. He's a Sikh American from New York, and he volunteers with SALDEF, which is the Sikh American Legal Defence and Education Fund. Narinder Singh joins us from New York also and is the chairman of the board of the Sikh Coalition. On the phone, we have Saranjit Banga. She was in Oak Creek on Saturday, and she was supposed to be at the temple on Sunday. And Harbeet Singh is part of the Oak Crest community. He was on his way to the temple when the shooting occurred, and he lost his uncle yesterday. Kiratbir, when you think about the experience of being a Sikh in America, what are the most important things about Sikhism to you?
Well, Sikhism, the most important aspect to me personally about Sikhism is the equality that it teaches. Sikhism was one of the first religions to give women equal rights, and some of the women were even able to vote and join the battalions, and this is back in the 15th century. And I think the idea of equality has really embedded within me and Sikhism, and that's one of the most important things to me.
Can you just give us a little background about the origin of Sikhism? It was born in Punjab in the 15th century, right?
Yes, so Sikhism was born about 500 years ago in the current region of Pakistan. Before then, Punjab was one region. Pakistan was only formed after 1947. So the origins of Sikhism are within that region, but it has spread across the world, and I think about 700,000 Sikhs live in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, it's the 5th largest religion in the world, which seems odd that it's such a misunderstood and poorly known religion in the United States. I believe we have on the phone. Sorry, the control room just told me that we have someone else on the phone. But oh right, we have Karbid on the phone who is in Wisconsin and who lost his uncle yesterday. Are you there?
Yeah.
What was your experience this weekend?
My basic religion.
What happened this weekend?
Pardon me?
I just said, what was your experience that happened this weekend to you?
Yes, what happened, the temple I go to was attacked by,
What do you think for that?
right now they are saying the white group leader, Parivez Michael Page. And he was a gunman. He bring a couple guns in and started shooting people from parking lot, went all the way inside, shot 6 people altogether, and came out, was confronted by a police officer, and died on it.
Where were you?
On my way to the Gurdwara Sahib, but there was emergency vehicle pulling into the driveway of Gurdwara, and I waited outside. So I thought that there was a fake alarm went off a couple of weeks ago by a kid who broke the fire alarm, and I thought it happened again. So I was not like this serious incident. I never expected that be happen to.
Harpreet, how big is the Sikh community in that area, and what will this do to it?
In Milwaukee area, we have about 2 Sikh temples, and the Sikh Temple of Wisconsin was this new building was built back in 2006, and over here about 500 families on a normal Sunday attend the Sunday prayer.
Has the community experienced any tragedies since 9/11 in terms of prejudice?
I believe so, yes. There is a lack of education in people, which confuse us with the terrorist or Muslim community. And because we wear turbans and we go over hairs and naturally, and there's a big gap of communication and education here, where like between what we are and what other religions and the faith which wear turban and grow beard.
Well, Narinder, you're the chairman of the board of the Sikh Coalition. What would you want to say to Americans about Sikhism and about how they should understand it and conceive of it?
What I will be, I would like to say that Sikh religion is a very peaceful, peace-loving, hardworking people in this religion, and they don't have any intention to hurt anybody or even thinking of hurting anybody.
Thanks, Harpreet. Narinder.
Yes, so I
you
think
can put on your spokesman's hat and tell us what we need to know.
So a couple things I'd say. First of all, just let me tell you who Sikhs are in a quick summary is that you mentioned the origin of the religion. The key tenets of the religion are Sikhs are basically supposed to live an honest living because we're supposed to be part of society, not separate from it. We're supposed to be sure that we're giving back the good bounties that have come from us to others in the community to honor the Creator. And then finally, we're supposed to live and remember God in service. And as Kirat Beer said earlier, equality is a big part of it. The image that you see of a Sikh with a turban and beard, that's part of the uniform. That's part of us being able to identify who we are and what we're supposed to stand for, much like a police officer's uniform identifies the values they're supposed to hold.
What does the turban symbolize?
So the turban and the beard, all of this together is the uniform for the Sikh faith. And so this basically helps identify who we are, and it's supposed to represent the values that I talked about and the way we're supposed to live our life.
And it originated within Hinduism, right, and broke off because of its objection to the caste system in India, is that right?
Well, Sikhism was a revealed religion, and so the Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism, was born a Hindu, but it was revealed. It wasn't an offshoot of Hinduism. It's a separate and distinct faith with its own belief structure. But yes, a lot of the times it was basically rejecting things like the caste system that were prevalent at the time. So the teachings definitely win against some of the things that were common in the 15th century.
Saranjit, I just want to go back to you if you're still there. Can you just speak to your experience of growing up as a female Sikh?
For me, oh, sorry, is my audio working well?
It's working for me.
Yes.
I think for me, it's been a fairly pleasant experience. Again, I grew up in the Bay Area. There's a large number of Sikhs out there. I'm currently in the Midwest, and everyone's been very inviting towards me. I do think a lot of the men do have it a little bit harder, as well as the children growing up. They face a lot of the school bullying issues, and the Sikh Coalition is doing a lot to make sure that students are empowered and education is being provided about who the Sikhs are. Especially in the Bay Area, we're doing a lot to educate our students, Sikhs and non-Sikhs, about who we are, and that we're just like the average American citizen, and we're here for freedom, and we hope that we can get the same.
Where were you yesterday when you heard about the shooting?
I was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and that's just about 4 hours away from Oak Creek, Wisconsin.
How did you feel?
I felt shocked, very shocked, that I was just in the same city the day before, and I was just having conversations with my cousin who lives in the city about how diverse the area is becoming, and she was letting me know, that the Sikh community is growing in the area, and she was just telling me about the temple and the Gurdwara there, and how there are so many people who attend the services on Sundays.
Kirat Beer, I'd like to hear your experience of when you heard yesterday where you were and how it impacted you.
Yeah, I actually came back from overnight prayers in Richmond Hill, New York.
Can you just explain that to us? What
yeah,
overnight prayers are?
Yeah, so there's occasionally we do an event where it's an all-night prayer, and I had just come back from there, and I was just waking up, and I turned on the news as I usually do on Sunday mornings, and I heard about this, and I immediately got on Twitter, I got on social media and connected with friends and reporters and tried to reach out and connect them with the proper sources.
I mean, we hear about this kind of silly confusion that happens between Sikhs and Muslims just because they wear a similar headdress.
Yes.
But because of that, was there any sense of inevitability about this? When you heard about it, was there any sense of, oh man, this?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, you always expect something like that, and it's unfortunate that a tragic event like this had to happen. And you know, as Sikhs, we are active in engaging our communities and try to educate them. Sikh Coalition has a very great education program where they send Sikhs out to different high schools, different colleges, different churches to talk about Sikhism. And you know, that's the reason we do it, so we don't have an event like this happen. And it's unfortunate that it happened, but we believe in Chardi Kala, which is rising above all problems in high spirits.
Explain that to me.
Well, Sikhism has a history of getting oppressed, and you know, this is just another saga in that chapter. And I think you know, Sikhism, every time there has been an attack on Sikhs or oppression towards Sikhs, we've risen stronger. And you know, throughout our 500-year history, time and time again, Sikhs have faced oppression, whether it's you know, Persians who have taken over our land in India, or 1984, where Sikhs were persecuted in India, and where hundreds of thousands of Sikhs died. And you know, we've been through this before, and we rise above every single time, and that's what we look forward to.
Narinder, how have you had to deal with your own community in light of the discrimination that it faces?
I think one important part, I want to relate that back to your question, is in the dialogue after these events, we've seen people at first, it's unconfirmed, but it looks like it will be confirmed as a hate crime later today.
Yeah, I also do want to just join you in making sure that we make that totally clear. We don't actually know what the motivations of the
We do not know at this point. And I think that the key point behind that is, in any kind of mass killing, we start asking about the perpetrators, how they got the weapons, all these logistical questions, which make a lot of sense. If it's a hate crime, we as an American society have a broader responsibility to understand in our schools, in our local communities, through our governments, how we can engage to take away this sense of other. And this has been a big part of the dialogue with the community. It's about obviously the families and victims at the location. Our hearts go out to them. Our hearts go out to the police officers who gave their lives and prevented a much bigger incident. Beyond that, this is not about just Sikhs. It's about, in America, how we think about the concept of other and how we can do better. And so the Sikh Coalition and our work in, you know, religious profiling, workplace discrimination, hate crimes, the work is about more than just the Sikhs. It's about us as a country and a nation and how we address and take forward from these kinds of things to avoid the environments that create this kind of animosity.
Yeah, and as the chairman of the board of the Sikh Coalition, you have supported the Muslim American community, right, in opposing racial profiling, supposedly by the NYPD.
Absolutely. One of the things that I remember after the days of 9/11 is actually how quickly the Muslim community, the Asian community, the Japanese, the Chinese, they related to their experiences after World War II and said not again. And so really, it's responsible Americans, and one of the most inspiring parts in the aftermath for me has been the outreach from non-Sikhs of all segments showing support for the communities, for the police officers, and for change that takes away from environments that create hate and give the fringes of our society a reason or rationale in their deranged minds to do something like this.
And I mean, I think it obviously it's about understanding one another and understanding one another's communities and one another's faiths, I think, right? I mean, this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to do a story this morning that is all about the logistics and the gunmen and all of that sort of stuff. Hopefully we can play our tiny little part here on HuffPost Live to bring in community, to engage people, to help people to understand one another a little better, and that's hopefully going to minimize misunderstandings in the future.
Yeah,
Saranjit, sorry, go ahead.
If we focus on just the logistics, we miss the broader point. You know, like I said, workplace discrimination, hate crimes. We've seen 30% of schools, 30% of Sikh kids get physically intimidated or touched because of their turbans. We've seen employment discrimination that's, 10x the national average. That's the dialogue that we need to have, not just about what happened on the specific day.
Do you have any idea, Narinder, whether this is particularly a problem in the United States, or do Sikhs face the same level of discrimination throughout the world?
I believe it's different in different places. Our community here has been here about 100 years, but we're relatively unknown. And so I do believe some of the challenges here are unique. And frankly, I think the standard's higher. As Americans, born and raised in this country, we expect more because that's what America's about. It's about giving opportunity to more. So I think the standard here is much higher than we would expect anywhere else in the world, because as Americans, we expect more from ourselves.
Saranjit, I'd just like to give you the last word. What are your, listening to this conversation and thinking about yourself as a female Sikh American, what are your thoughts about Sikhism in America, to take us out?
I think it's just a time for Sikhs and non-Sikhs to come together at this point, and know this is a case about humanity. And I mean, we all need to just join hands and just understand that, you know, Sikhs are here in this country just as any other minority, and you know, we want to be able to practice our religion freely without being targeted for hate crimes. So I think just in general, I hope what people take away from this is that we remember the lives that were lost, as well as educate people about who Sikhs are, and that we are very peaceful, and we just care for others.
Yeah, and to celebrate and be inclusive towards all Muslims as well as all Sikhs, of course. Thanks so much to everyone for being part of the conversation. The conversation will continue on HuffPost Live. You can check out the green room of some upcoming stories that we've got coming throughout the day, and you can also, there's a whole lot of interesting stuff to check out in the resource well on this particular page. So stay tuned and let us know what you think on HuffPost Live.